It's that time once again when we feature 5 more NFT games that you can play without any form of investment. It sounds too good to be true, but it does exist, though there are often limitations that we will discuss in this video and have discussed with other games in the past. A person without any investment can make money, but not as much money as those with investments. It's a fair trade, but nevertheless, when you have the time and commitment to play these games, you can still potentially make a lot of money. So why waste more time? This is the Game Mag's 5 more NFT games that you can play and make money without any investment. Number 1. Myst. Let's start with something that a lot of people love, and that is the MMORPG genre. We have the game called Myst. Myst is your standard third-person MMO with a lot of things to entice you. First of all, it's only available for PC when the game will be initially released. The graphical approach of Myst is somewhat going a bit high-end. Perhaps mobile ports will be available in the future? When it comes to the gameplay, you pick a faction and its corresponding races. Races include human, dwarf, elf, orc, and a couple of new ones like Fallen, Leonin, Mousekin, and Rhinokin. After that, players choose from 9 classes such as Ranger, Berserker, Enchanter, Crusader, Priest, Bard, Witch Hunter, and Shapeshifter. When you're all done, it's off to the world and do what people do in MMOs, like adventuring, looking for loot, beating monsters, doing dungeons, and more. So it's your standard MMORPG, but how you make money is the question. There is something called a Myst token that you can farm when you play the game. As a free player, you can earn farm Myst tokens by simply killing monsters and completing certain quests. The grind may be slow, but you can earn these Myst tokens even without investing any money. You can even earn these tokens when you sell some in-game items and other NFT items that you may be able to obtain without using money. Myst will also feature land ownership, so you better save up if you plan on buying land without any investment. Much more will be added if you check the developer and their plans. Now, from one MMORPG, we head to another RPG on our number 2 game. At number 2, we have Forest Knight, which is a tactical and turn-based RPG. The game will come out for PC and Android devices, but not iOS. Too high class. Come back when you're better. Oh god, we're gonna get a lot of comments from iPhone users, aren't we? But the game itself will make for a good handheld gaming experience since the game doesn't demand much when it comes to your device's processing power. Forest Knight has you play your typical RPG, but this time you'll be dealing with strategic combat. Players form a party of characters that they use when they play the game. The party count can vary, but the objective is to take out the enemy team. You control your characters by making them move in areas where they can navigate. Players can choose to skip a move or do an attack to deal damage to the enemy characters. Build up your team when you are able to, since the better your team becomes, the more money you can get. Speaking of, that's where the money-making aspect can come into play. Players can farm the Knight token, which serves as the game's special currency, but also is the only way to get a seat at the round table. You can use the Knight token for everything related to the game. Buying items and NFT can be done with the token. It takes a bit of time to farm some money, but that's always the case when you're a free player, which isn't entirely a bad thing. While our purpose is to show you how you can play these games without any investment, there are certain chests that players can buy that can help them get more resources later on. Forest Knight will continue to expand in the coming months, such as having land and other aspects. And you know what? Let's keep this trend going. We go from one tactical RPG to another with the next game. Number 3, Bina Mars. Bina Mars is sort of like a turn-based game, but not to that extent. It's more like a clicker game that still involves some form of strategy. Bina Mars begin with you owning your very own digital dragon. You first need to hatch an egg that will contain your dragon. But your dragon's a baby, which is not really useful for society, so before you can use it, you need to raise the dragon into an adult first. Once your dragon is an adult, you can do PvP or PvE. We'll start first with PvE, because it's pretty straightforward. Your dragon and enemies will be moving through the screen, and that's not really that big of a deal. Your objective is to get rid of all the enemies on your screen before your dragon falls. It is important that your dragon survives, otherwise the level fails and you have to start it all over again. Dragons have different sets of skills that will be ideal for players to choose from. Dragons also have typings that will make them stronger or weaker against certain enemies. These types include the Fury, Horn, Kirin, Mars, and Toothless. No, not that toothless, but that is a good thought. In the PvP mode, you'll be fighting against other players. The PvP mode can be tricky because you'll be betting something, so if you lose, you'll lose those resources. The way you can farm Bina Mars, which is the token of the game, and also that one guy in high school who was way too much into hip-hop, is by doing the PvE and PvP modes. There are limits to how many you can farm in a day so that the game doesn't crash. The limitations often change, so make sure you check how much you can farm Bina Mars that you can use to buy other things. Buying dragon eggs and hatching them will require a certain amount of Bina Mars. Get more dragon eggs and get more variety when you want to make more money in Bina Mars. Wait, is it Bina Mars? Bina Mars? I never know. From dragons to more monsters and combat with our next game. Number 4. Chain Monsters. If you think dragons were cool, how about 161 unique chain mons? Chain Monsters is a game for PC, Android, and iOS, hey, the Apple guys get involved, which incorporates the monster catching and MMORPG genres into a different level. This game is a dead ringer for Pokemon, but Pokemon isn't barking the NFT tree anytime soon, and maybe never. Chain Monsters has elements of Pokemon where you capture, raise, and battle your chain mons against enemy AI, as well as enemy players. It's free to play and you can have a couple of free chain mons to use. The gameplay is your typical Pokemon game where it is having your chain mons be pitted against other enemies. It's turn-based and you have to do all that you can to make sure that you win your battles. Chain mons can be trained, grow, and customized to fit your fighting style and more. That's where one aspect of the game's NFT can come in. Chain mons will be labeled as NFT, so they will be unique to you since they have their own codes. Granted, certain chain mons will be cheaper and there are those that will cost more because that's just the nature of the game. It brings balance so that people aren't selling overpriced and the same chain mons all the time. That's why you should also try and expand your team since other items are also under the NFT banner. Even if you don't invest anything, you can get a lot of things done when you invest a good amount of time and not necessarily money. Now for our last game here, it's pretty much the most different out of the other previous games on this list. No, seriously, like we've been doing RPG this entire time, it's finally time we change something up. Number 5. Berserk. The final game on this list is Berserk, which is different from the previous ones because Berserk is a card game. Like most card games, NFT or not, you get a deck when you start playing. Those cards may not be the best, but that's why you have to play the games to get better cards. The more cards you get means the better your deck can become. That also means that you can win a lot of your matches or duels. When you win duels, you are given the chance to earn the game's tokens such as the Lava or PYR. Both will be useful if you want to amass a nice return to a game that you didn't put any money into. Berserk is available for PC, but also Android and iOS devices if you want your card games on the go. Did any of these games catch your interest? Do you plan on playing any of them? Feel free to hit the comments and tell us what you feel. For more content, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to like for more.